broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Houston, Texas. It's time for Houston Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hello, Houston. Trisha Stutzel here, bringing you another episode of Houston Business Radio. It is my pleasure to introduce you to my next sister guest. Yes, you guys know what the sisterhood means, and we'll be talking about that at the end of our show today. So I want to introduce you to Wendy Nguyen, who is a highly effective art therapy and business coach dedicated to transforming your passion into profitable success. As a certified public accountant, author, speaker, entrepreneur, investor, and coach, Wendy combines deep expertise with a heartfelt commitment to helping others unlock their full potential. She is based here in Houston, Texas, and her journey reflects resilience, purpose, and a drive to inspire over 1 million people to get paid for doing what they love. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be with the Houston Business Radio Show. And thank you very much, Trisha, for your time.
Thank you. I'm so excited that you're here. So we won't get into all of your businesses because you shared with me you have 10 businesses, Wendy. You are such a superstar. And I know there are so many women listening today that would love to learn more about you and all of those 10 businesses. But today we're going to focus in on coaching. And I know one of the bigger topics is around coaching versus mentoring versus sponsorship. So before we get into that topic, Wendy, I would love to know, let's tell the listeners a little bit more about you and your business structure, or at least some of your businesses. We may not be able to tackle all 10 of them today, but just tell us a little bit more about you, Wendy.
Yes, so about me, I came to the US in 1997 as an international student. I was 17, so yes, you can know my age. That's no problem. I have 3 children, and my oldest one is in college right now with a fine art degree, and then one in high school and one in middle school. Handful, but it's a lot of fun. So, and for me, is my trade. I started out going to college, like everybody else, with a degree in accounting, and then end up with being an auditor for many years for, back in the dot-com day in the Silicon Valley, Southern California as well. And that was like 2001. So with that, I get into the business of over 300 different companies and understand their operation and their financials. And because of that, then I have, a great love for anything have to do with business, not-for-profit. I know so many different industry, from healthcare, oil and gas, manufacturing, constructions, and service industry as well. And and because of that, then I talk to like 3 to 5 people a week at least as the minimum. Being an auditor, I always interview people, and my always question was, some people are really, happy at their jobs, and some people was like, wow, I like to do gardening, but then I have to really doing my corporate jobs or being here. So I'm only always asking, how do we connect the dots between love what you do and get paid for it? So that's my biggest curiosity all the time, and try to find the answer for it. And because of that, then I decide to start my own business after being an auditor for a long time. And my own business is still doing accounting, which is a lot of finance and numbers related. Well, leading to that, then I just like, well, you know what? I can do something even better, and because I learned so much during the years with having many people into my life and talk to many people, then I'm like, who are coaches? Who are like mentors? What is sponsorships? And that has been a very very confusing for me. And but now I think I find the formula.
I love that. And I want to hear all about your thoughts around what that formula looks like. And I also want to share a couple of things that you might not share about yourself to the listeners. You guys, Wendy was recognized in 2023 by Women Who Mean Business in the Houston Business Journal, and in 2024 was CPA of the Year. So Wendy knows what she's talking about, and I'm so excited to have you on today. Let's talk then about how do we decipher between a coach and a mentor and a sponsor, and sometimes even how do we navigate using one or all of those people who might be assigned to us when we're in the corporate space, or we might hire one or engage with one as an entrepreneur?
Yes, yeah. And so also my latest award for 2025, I've been recognized as the inspirational women, entrepreneurial women uh, by the 14 World Leaders Forum. I will receive my award in the UK at the end of August.
Oh, Wendy, congratulations. That's beautiful. I love
Thank
that. Thank you
you.
for sharing.
Yeah, because I'm not only doing business here in the US or Houston, Texas, I'm also expanding and exploring many opportunities in Southeast Asia and UK and Australia as well. So,
Thing.
yeah, it has been a very like a epiphany moment for me to uh, one of the things that if people knows about me is would be like I like to take something very, very complicated and make it very simple.
Okay.
So because I like math, I like numbers, but at the same time, I have this kind of like creativity side on the art side, and sometimes it's very chaos when it's come to art. So how do I, connect the art side with the math side? And because of that, then I come up with what I call a three-step process to a fulfilling life. And the three-step process, I'm like, well, first you need to remove your limiting belief. Second is setting goals. And the third is learning how to achieve goals.
Okay.
So looking back, I'm like, oh, you know what? As children and growing up, we go to school. Most of the time, the school is teaching us how to achieve the goals. It's not so much about setting the goals. Our goal is more like handled to like given to us by our parents or our teachers. So really, the first people in our life that are the sponsor, the coach, and the mentors are our parents. And now, if parents are being smart about this, then they can say, you know what, because I'm already kind of a one that doing many things for you, too many roles. Like, why don't I'm going to go ahead and stay in the sponsorship space? That I'm going to show you the way how to achieve the goals. So when you go to a corporation to work or just over the time, people was like, oh, you know what? You should get this person mentoring you. You should get the other person mentoring you. In a corporate setting, a lot of time when they talk about mentoring is maybe you coming in as a staff and being mentored by a manager, right? Or by a senior. And so, which means mentorship to me is in that, oh, you know what? Because this is my career path, and 5 years from now, I want to be a manager. So now that manager can be the mentors, so that can help me setting the goals. And
Mhm.
the bus kind of like stuck there because I'm projecting that into that person in my career path. But now, if like say go into, having a uh, sometime also that maybe you want your life to be more than that, more than just being like a manager in your company, then what else can you do? And now just like wait, I probably need, for me like 10 years 15 years into my corporate career, then I've been sent to get executive coaching. And so, as part of the coaching process, what I learned is that the coach is actually the one that help you to remove the limiting belief that you have, help you to pointing out your superpower, and and at the same time, though, it's depending on the coach, right? Because you may have like an executive coach, but then what if you want to have a better in communications, and then you may need to have a relationship coach. So it's just like if you want to be really, really good at basketball, you're not going to go and get a football coach.
Right.
And at the same time, though, your coach doesn't have to be the best in whatever that the field that they are doing. Like that you don't need the football coach to be like a number one football player, because
Mm.
then it's more of the coach is actually somebody that intimately and kind of know you and hold you accountable. And that's the same with the Olympian, right? The coach doesn't necessarily mean that they won a lot of like gold medals. So more of if the people who won the gold medals be more like a mentor to you instead of being like a coach to you. So, and one of the failures in the past that I have is I usually, when you build relationship with people and then suddenly you're going to put the person into carrying all three roles for you without knowing it. So I have a really, really good two companies that I work for a long time. Like, well, for me, I quite changing jobs pretty often so I can learn. And what I found is whenever I find a manager or partners that I not only supporting them, help them to finish the project, then I ultimately put them into a position of being my coach, being my mentor, and being my sponsors. And that's it's really limiting the growth. So, you know, looking back, I would say, that manager who's going to be sitting at the table to help me with the promotion or helping me with getting the salary, then that person is more like a sponsor to me,
Okay.
because they the one that show me how to, um, you know, supporting me, right? Talk about me to get to the goals that I want to get to. So
Mm.
I should have just positioned that person as a sponsors, and then I should go and looking for a mentor who that I can be in the other organizations or another organization, but it's like a really good like audit partner, and say, can you mentor me how to become a partner, right?
Okay.
And and then again, it's like another mistake is like when I decide to start my own CPA practice, I talked to, audit partners and other CPA firm. But then what I didn't know is that, wait a minute, they're really good at auditing, but they may not be good at business. So I should have been asked and looking for a business coach.
Mm.
So, I make so many like little um setback, but it's like, expectations. I think it's more like expectation that you're looking for from the person. And I think that now looking back, I say, you know what? A person, like even if you when you have a young kid, you should already using this model to really have your kids to build a network. Because people always say that, the leveraging relationship. If you don't have money, but you have, it's not about what you know, but who you know, then you can also ask a lot of questions because knowledge is also currency.
Mm, mhm. Oh my gosh. I love where you're going with this. So can we dig around a little bit at the limiting beliefs? Because I know that's something, a space that you work in with your clients. So how do we get there? I know some of us know that there's something in our way. We might see that critical constraint that we've got this roadblock that's in the way and we got to get around it. But oftentimes we don't know, we have to dig a little bit deeper to figure out why that constraint is anchored in front of us. So, what kind of work do you do with your clients in that limiting belief space?
Yeah. So, with the space of limiting belief is one of the session that I do a lot with my customers is that I help them to build a personal vision board.
Mm,
And instead of just jump right in and say, dream about what is your dream life look like, I was a lot of time I would say, write out things that you need to forgive and forget.
okay.
And I have four areas of our life that we need to forgive and forget for ourselves. Is first is about our health, and it's mental health, physical health, our relationships, um, our wisdom, and then our success. So, something that you need to forgive and forget is sometimes we have this self doubt and talk to ourselves that, what, I'm not looking good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not, skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. My hair is this color. My eyes is this. So, that is more of the, on the physical side. right? So then first you need to forgive and forget yourself, and what is that you feel like you regret and you've been kind of like just hammering on it, or like on a mindset side, like on a mental wellness side, say, you know what, I don't think I ever learned meditation. I would never get to there. Um, or I'm not tough enough. I'm not that strong. I'm not that resilient. So those are the things that you talk to yourself on a daily basis, not unconsciously, not knowing that. And a lot of time people will say, I'm not good enough. And what they forgot to think, what does mean good enough? Right? Or the success side, people cannot say, well, you know what, I've been wanting to have, debt free, or I always want to own a house like 5 years after college. And so there's something that on the success side, we feel like we're not getting there. And also that we self talk that as well. Then we need to write it down, to say that we need to forgive and forget. So just like you want to have a really nice home, what do? The first thing you need to declutter it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so when my clients, they would sit down, they would share with me that in each of the areas that they have this kind of things that they need to let go, forgive and forget, then that's when I know that that's where their limiting beliefs are coming from.
I think this rolls right into this area of how to get paid doing what you love. So how do you take someone from they love gardening, but they're in this other space working, they have a job, W-2 job, or maybe even a different business. How do you get them from being over there to actually getting paid to do what they love? And I know it's probably a very long um, journey, but where do you begin with that?
Yeah, so I love to talk about this because with this one, I come up with the 3P formula. So everything with me is sitting as number three. So make
Okay.
it simple, right? So it's a 3P formula. It's called passions, profit, and purpose. So I would really sit down and dissecting the passion side. Somebody say, you know what, I really love gardening. Then on the passion side, I would have, there's three things that I would break it down for people on the passions. When you say that you're passionate about something, which means are you already the best in whatever you do? So I call it the core competencies.
Okay.
And then the second thing is I have is the core values. And, somebody who love gardening, which means that they love to get out there and being with the nature. And they can be, to me, that's going to be a very honest person, right? So that's going to be the core values that they are into it because they want to be part of the nature. They want surrounding with the green and they have the love for the nature. And so, knowing your core value, and then the third thing is your visions, right? Like I said, yeah, I love gardening, but what is the vision that you want in that gardening? Like, do you sit down and say, you know what, I want to every single house that look like a beautiful garden and like one house at a time? Then this is the vision because that's your passion and you want to go to people home and have their front yard look gorgeous. Then now you have a vision. Then you can get into the business. But if you just like, I love gardening, but as long as I can grow some plant and vegetable and flowers in the back of my garden and I'm happy about it, then and if you don't have the desire to do something for somebody else, then how are you gonna get paid for what you love to do?
Hmm. I love
Right?
that.
So there's
Yeah.
had to be the desire. So I really dig into their passions because sometimes it's just more like it's like this is a hobby and this is not something that is they felt like compelling. So to solve a problems that is in the world or in people daily life.
Yeah, absolutely. I I love the way you make things so simple, Wendy. You take the very complex and break it down and in a lot of cases just three parts, right? For each of these areas. And I love that. Thank you for sharing so much great information. If people are already excited about connecting with Wendy. I'd like to send you to her website, which is wendynguyencoaching.com, WENDYNGUYEN coaching, COACHING.com. So Wendy Nguyen Coaching, and you can find all of the information that you need in order to get in touch with Wendy on her website. So Wendy, why do you believe everyone needs a mentor and a coach?
Yes. So I because the coach will help you to see your strength and your weakness and hold you accountable for the goals that you want to set, right? And so and then in our life we always have the blind spot.
Mm,
And like I say, it's maybe something you never think about, of like just by every day telling yourself you're not good enough, then actually hindering everything that you want to achieve in your life because you speak it to become the reality.
mm,
So um that's why is the coach is important. And because when you grow up in a family, right? Your parents are your first coach. And, some family, they can, you can hear about they broken out of poverty, or that the first one go to college, or some family that, the kids are very successful. That's because, the parents are already successful in the society, so they can give the advice. So we can only go as high as our parents if we're not seeking for more,
mhm,
right? And so the coach is also going to help you to seek for more. And one thing those, selecting a coach is also very important because if, let's say, going back, like if for a business, if I say I want to grow my business international, then I do want to have a coach who some way, somehow know about the global perspective. And versus having a more I'm more comfortable with working within my community, then yeah, you're finding a coach that working within your community. So I and it's to me it's really because in order for you to set any goals, you really have to getting out of your limiting belief. And I'm Trisha, this is something that also very good that you would talk about gardening. Somebody love gardening. And when I asked my mentee this question, she thought that I tricky her because she loved gardening. And I say, so when you love gardening, will you pulling out the weed first, or you watering the seed
mm,
first?
mm, mm. Okay,
Question for
very
you.
good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very good question. That's why she thought you were trying to trick her.
Yeah. So the answer is that you would want to pulling out the weed first because the weed, what representing the weed for me are the limiting belief, the self
Mm,
doubt.
okay.
Then you would do the watering and then you would do the fertilizers. Because what imagine is that, we have kind of like plant the seed and then start put fertilizers and putting the water. And now the weed is also there. So the weed also grow together.
Very
As big
true.
as the goal as you have, and also as big as your self-doubt that you may have every day.
Mhm. Wow, what a great question. And again, bringing it down to something so simple that's easy to understand, right? On why you would want to pull the weeds out first, which is a limiting belief. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Okay, would it be all right as we get to the back end of our conversation here today to celebrate this thing we call six figure chicks? I'm really excited to be collaborating on this book with you, Wendy. I can't wait to read your story. So it's Six Figure Chicks, the first Houston edition. The ebook will be available on June 16th on Amazon. And each of us, there's 17 of us authors, have told our story in this book. So I hope all of you will go out and get your pre-ordered copy of the ebook. Of course, it's available after the 14th. That's just our launch day. So Wendy, why did you want to be a part of the collaboration for Six Figure Chicks?
Yes, that's a great question. So as you mentioned at the beginning, I'm already an author, and also one of my book actually a well-known. I was co. So the first two books that I published was in 2023,
Okay.
and the first was How to Get Paid Doing What You Love book, and it's also a series. So I interview multiple people about their journey, and then immediately right after that, at the same time, February March of 2023, I co-author with my very famous global author Marie Diamond, and so the books it's called Global Conscious Entrepreneurs, and it had been publicized over like translate into 16 different languages. And because I always want to continue to have the second book from the first book, Get Paid for Your Passions book. I want to continue to have that book and interview more people. The first one, I interviewed 9 different entrepreneurs. And so beginning of this year, 2025, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go on to my second book sequel. And I'm already start talking to different authors about it. Then all of a sudden, Mel Carr, she is the one that helping us publishing the book, right? She start talk about Six Figure Chick book. And of course, the ambition, like I do, like, why not 7-figure? Because I already,
Of course you
have
did, Wendy.
multi-million dollar, businesses. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why not 7 figures? And she was like, well, as we talk about, is the 6 figure is by the end of the day, whatever we take home, right? And how much money actually you need to have a comfortable life. So 6 figures should be enough. Right? So I say, yeah, that's very interesting. And so I was very excited to co-authoring the books with and Mel want to collaborate with multiple women. And then in this case, like as earlier Trisha said, that I have many businesses, and the only reason that I can have so many businesses is because every single business I have business partners.
Mm,
And I'm a big believer into collaborations. And so, with this book, and I get to meet many more amazing women, then that is like in alignment with my kind of business core value, actually, because I don't do business alone, right? So if you kind of like a self-employed, one person shop, to me, that's not a business. Yeah, a business have to be a collective of a group of people. And
mm,
so like this book collaboration with many other women and listen to their story, I'm very excited. The chapter that I actually share and talk about, which the other books I don't talk about much, is actually how to find a business partners, how to collaborate. And and I would say I'm almost a really good person to write this book because my chapter, because I failed so many times in business partnership. At the same time, I also have a lot of wins, so I can take the setback and what do I learn from the setback, and I can pick out the point right away. Then what can be a success, because one thing that I find is women, we are so versatile, we are so multitasker, right? If you can be a mother and take care and raise a human being, then you can
uh-huh.
totally, starting and raising a business, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you can manage, because you have to manage, the little one who have no skill or don't know how to write, don't know how to read.
Yes, exactly.
Um, yeah, so so because of a long time, a lot of time women because we're so multitasker that we become loner. We don't
Mhm.
know how to collaborate. And for this one, I want to give people the courage to collaborate, because as much as I failed and I lost a lot of money, through business partnership, I still encouraged it's worth it. Try it. because the only way that you can grow so big and make a bigger impact is about collaborations. So,
That's beautiful. Wendy, thank you so much for being with me today. I suspect you're going to have to come back on the show because we have so much more to talk about.
yeah, yeah, because everything we touch one.
Yes, exactly. Okay, if you guys are ready to connect with Wendy, then you can find all of the information that you need either in the show notes or you can go directly to her website at Wendy Nguyen Coaching, WendyNguyenCoaching, WendyNguyenCoaching.com. Wendy, it's been such a pleasure to have you on today. Looking forward to our next conversation.
Well, thank you very much, Trisha, and thank you for a lot of great questions. And now, because not only business coaching, but I incorporate art into business, so that's gonna remove more limiting beliefs.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what we need to talk about the next time you come back, because I'm very curious about how you're implementing this art piece into this holistic approach that you take. Thank you again, Wendy.
Bye bye, Trisha.
That's all the time we have for today. If you found value in this conversation, please share it with a fellow entrepreneur, veteran, or Houston leader ready to grow. Be sure to follow, rate, and review this show. It helps us reach more bold business minds just like yours. And your business, your leadership, and your legacy are built one intentional step at a time. So stay tuned, stay inspired, stay focused, and keep building the business and the life you deserve.